Hello, everyone, and so welcome to this first episode of my first podcast ever. Welcome to the art of living life. The idea for this podcast is in my mind since months, meanwhile, and today I decided that it's the day to finally start it. So, what I like to do is to give you a little introduction about myself and to talk a little bit about my journey and about my intention for this podcast. Actually, I had this quote in my mind for the last days from one person that really inspired me, and this is Laura Marlina Seiler. She is from Germany, and I follow her on Instagram. She's doing a lot of podcasts where I actually really start listening to podcasts. And she was talking about this quote. I don't remember it word to word, but it was something about like, what are you waiting for? Like maybe today is exactly the day, exactly the time you need, or where you're ready to start what you have always wanted to do. And so I decided today is this day. And well, let's start about me. My name is Filomena Krohn. Most of the time people meanwhile call me Philo or Mina, so choose whatever you like. I actually lived most of my life and grew up in Switzerland. I lived there for the first 22 years of my life until I decided, actually in the beginning of the last year, to quit my job and then started traveling last year in June. I would say I started my, I don't know a better word for it, but spiritual journey around 2 years ago, where I would describe it as a like crisis in my life, where I was in a relationship. I've kind of felt trapped. I kind of felt like stuck in my life, and I realized that I'm at a point in my life I actually don't want to be. And then I started my journey in like reflecting what happened and why did I come to this point in my life. And this is where I like to describe it as healing journey, and really started like reflecting about my life, and first of all heard about these ideas and principles of belief systems, and about the inner child, about what I have experienced in my childhood and why it's influencing my life. And since then, the last 2 years, I have to say I made a huge progress in my life, in my personal development, and I discovered so much on this journey that I really want to share. And I really wish that it's gonna serve someone here and maybe inspire you. Well, but long story short, meanwhile, or let's say I started my journey last year with my yoga teacher training in India, and meanwhile I moved abroad. I moved to Thailand. I found my home there. I found my soul family, and meanwhile I'm working together with wonderful people in a retreat center. We have a hotel and a yoga studio where I'm teaching yoga, and we're gonna start in this new high season again with our own retreat programs. This was like a vision from myself, and I was so amazed like how fast this vision came true, and I'm living, I have to say, an absolutely dream life. And it's so interesting like how you can reach these points. And yeah, I really wish that my story, my experience may inspire you to also go for your dreams and just to be brave. And I think one of the biggest points for me is don't think too much. And this is maybe what today's podcast episode also is about. And just to explain this, I had the idea for this podcast in my mind over months, and I don't have a specific goal for it. There is not like that huge expectation. I think there are many different parts of my intention. So I think one of them is for me, is to grow and to learn. Because one of my visions for my future, I don't know exactly why or how, but I have this picture in my mind of being a speaker, of inspiring people, of speaking in front of people. And for me, this podcast is an amazing tool for me to put myself out there and to learn to speak, and especially to improve my English. Because first I had like many, say, restrictions and like limiting thoughts of like, should I really start this? Am I ready? It's like my English it's not that fluent as I wished it to be, or it's like there's still like some words that I don't know. There is still a lot to improve there, like to really being able to express myself. But this is it. Like as I said, there is no perfect time, and the perfect moment is always now. And I saw this in my progress in the last years. I think I first started speaking on Instagram around a year ago, and back then I was so anxious to do it. I think when I recorded a video, I did it like 5 or 10 times maybe, and I was almost shaking before I posted it. And meanwhile, when I look back, like sometimes you have this kind of memories in Instagram plopping up, and I have to laugh so hard, like when I see myself there. But I'm so happy and I'm so thankful I started back then. Because if I hadn't started back then, I wouldn't be able to do this today. I wouldn't be that confident to just say, well, girl, today you're gonna start your podcast. And this is also it. It's like I don't have a really structure or anything in it. Just to be honest, I didn't plan anything. I didn't even really structure this podcast today. I just had this voice running inside of my head, and I was like, okay, today is the day to release it. And this is another point why I want to start this podcast is, first of all, I love to talk, and the voice inside of my head loves to talk. And sometimes this voice is explaining me stuff over and over again I actually already knew. So I also thought this is one amazing tool to just release all of these thoughts and put it out. And first, for me, it's like it's out there. it's like it's, how do you say it? It's like something, sometimes it's really important to put some stuff out, also to get another perspective on it. And maybe what I really wish is that it can serve you in whatever way. Because this is another point, I really want to do this podcast and to talk about different topics, about all the stuff I've learned and I'm still learning. I still have to learn a lot. But it's because of people like this, because of podcasts like this, I have to say I am in this point in my life that I'm right now. And it's not like, it wasn't one specific person I say, or I mean, of course, you sometimes have this huge aha moment, but most of it, it's like everything together. Like all of these different people, or maybe videos, quotes, book. It's the whole thing that just supports you and sometimes show you new perspectives, or just helps you to be more confident in your decisions. And another thing is also because I followed people, like this is maybe not a good word, but I don't know how to explain it in other words, but it's like I think I also started to allow myself living this life I'm living now, because other people showed me that it's possible. Because sometimes it's not that you have to push like a lot of energy out to create something to, I say, help or support people. Sometimes it's just because you be as you are, and just being you and living a life where you follow your dreams, where you go with your intuition, where you listen to your heart and just follow your passion. And just doing this is allowing other people to do it as well. So these are my points why I want to start this podcast. And I noticed that sometimes when I do stuff on Instagram, I really have to say a lot. And I feel like Instagram is maybe not the right platform to do it. And so people, they can just take the time, and wherever you are, maybe sometimes you feel like just listen to this, or reach out to me, ask me questions, whatever. I just love to discuss with people, or just to give new perspectives. And I think also today's main topic is about letting go of perfectionism, of that you have to plan everything and everything has to be structured. Because this is what I realize is often the one thing that is holding me back, because you feel like, oh, I'm not ready now, but the time is not ready, or I don't have the proper equipment, the proper place, it's better when I started at exactly this time or whatever. And I had a lot of thoughts like this. I thought, no, okay, first maybe I want to work a little bit more on my English. I don't know why, but I just felt to do this in English, even if my mother tongue was German, or I could also talk in German. But I just feel like doing it in English. And as I said, it's an amazing tool. And in the end, as I'm recording this, I first had like the name of the podcast, The Art of Living Life. It was like in my head, but I haven't really fixed it. And actually when I walked home, I just decided, okay, whatever, this is the name. I haven't created any logo or anything to it. Basically, I don't even know yet how to upload this on Spotify. So I just thought I gotta make a video so I can post it on YouTube for sure. I don't have any design, I have nothing. But for me this is the best thing, because when you just start something, you just do that first step, and while you're doing it, you will progress so fast. You will evolve, you will develop it, because with every time you do it, you see, there is more potential, or maybe I can adjust this. Now I'm just recording a memo. I hope I can even cut it together with the video here. And I have the video on my iPad, and it's not proper equipment at all. But in the end, it doesn't matter, because it's so beautiful sometimes to just see maybe even a few months, or imagine a few years later, and you see like, wow, this was the point I started, and because this version of me started right now and did this step, I got where I am right now because of this. And I saw this in so many times in my life where I did this, because before I often or always felt like, oh, I need to have a plan and I need to know exactly what I want to do and where is the goal, so I can work like goal oriented, and I have to make a structure and everything, or a plan. But in the end, I mean, I know the direction, I know the vision, but the most important thing is to do the first step. And this is it for me right now. It's the first step for the art of living life. And maybe more to the art of living life. Well, in the end, I don't have like that huge vision of what I really want to do and really want to talk about in this podcast. I think I will just do it whatever I feel or whatever topics are present in me right now. And for me, the art of living life is because I really learned in this, especially in the last year where I was traveling in Southeast Asia, that it's an art, and it's one of my biggest achievements that I started to learn living my life. Living my life in this present moment. Living what matters in life. Learning what matters in life. And yeah, really like finding this connection to myself. Really finding about what is life about? What is my purpose? What do I want to do in these years I have on this planet Earth? What is it? And for me, I have to say, I realize more and more that it's not about that you have a purpose, that you achieve your goals, because in the end, I am, we are, and that's already it. There is not such a thing like something is better or something is worse. It's just about our perspective and what meaning we give to the things. So in the way I mean it is, it's like I don't have more value if I achieve a certain goal, if I get famous and this podcast reaches millions of people, or if it just reaches one person. And it's not about like achieving this certain kind of goals, because in the end, nothing is forever. Life is always changing, and sometimes we don't understand why stuff is happening. But this is like, for me, something that gives me the most peace, or is more and more connecting myself to this inner peace, is that this life is just about experiencing, about making experiences. And I always was a person, I loved my extremes. It's like I went from one extreme to another. And meanwhile, I really see it's about being able, remaining in a balance, but trying different stuff out, like going out of my comfort zone and being open, having a brave heart to just say, I go for it and I do the stuff I would have thought I would never be able to do, and not in a way of forcing me or feeling like I have to prove something, but like just for me to see the wonders, these miracles in life, and to experience it, to enjoy every moment of, no matter what is happening, just seeing the small things in life, finding this joy, finding the love, finding the peace inside of me. And yeah, I think this is all about, like, most of the time we're searching so far away or we're living in the past. We're recreating the past experiences in our present moment, or we even projecting it in our future because we knew, oh, okay, when I do this, this is gonna happen. So we expect like the same thing to happen. Or we just think in the future of, oh, okay, I want to achieve this, or I want to go traveling, I want to do this certain kind of job, I want to find the partner of my life or whatever, and then I'm happy, or then I'm grateful or whatever, or then I feel like, oh, I arrived. But in the end, this is what I am catching often, like myself in my thoughts, is this, that why do I create this pain, like this distance in, I'm not happy with the present moment right now, so I'm looking forward to the future. But in the end, even if this future, like of my dreams, where everything came true, is here, but even now, in this present moment, I'm not able to be grateful for what I have, to appreciate what I have, and to really live this moment with everything that is here. How I'm able then to appreciate everything I have. Or is it just a trap? Is it like running in a circle and it's never enough? You always feel like, oh, in the future it's gonna be better, it's gonna be better. So for me it's a lot about acceptance of coming into this moment. And it's not about that you have to stay in a place where you really feel like, oh wow, this is not it, this is not the environment, not the job, not whatever, this is not the best thing for me. Then it's always first like coming into this moment and then making a decision of going to something and enjoying this way, enjoying the ups and downs, because no matter where you are and where you're gonna go in your life, if you haven't solved this stuff inside of yourself, it will always come back. Always. Because you take yourself, your mind, your emotions, your thoughts, your belief patterns, you're gonna take them with you. So this is for me, it's like it's so much I've learned about life, about myself, and this is where I find more and more joy in it, is this learning how to live the life. Because this is something no one ever taught me in my life, in school. It was always about surviving in this system, right? About that life is just one line and it will always like improve and go up, and it's, yeah, you work and you will earn good money and you will be happy and you have an easy life or whatever. But life is so much more than working, than earning money. And it's not only that you need money to like live your life. It's really just about being in this moment, and I love to say it, being brave and having an open heart, having an open mind, and just see that this life is so amazing and we have so much time here, so much time for experiencing stuff, for learning new skills, and that there is not only one ultimate truth, or if I have decided to go a certain way, that it doesn't define me, that I have always the power to change something, that I have this freedom, I really have this freedom to try things out. And if I feel sometimes, okay, this way I choose it doesn't fit with me, it doesn't resonate with me anymore, then it's okay to go another way. But just seeing what I have learned out of it, And maybe at one point I will come back to it or just apply certain stuff in it again. But there is no black or white. They're all colors of the rainbow, and you actually have the freedom to do it. And it's your right to be happy. It's everyone's right to live a life in peace, in happiness, and following your passion. Sometimes I think a lot of people, or even I a few years ago, I didn't believe that something like this could happen to me. I just believed, oh yeah, there are like just certain kind of people, or you have to be lucky or whatever. But I was this person. I was this person so trapped in the system, so trapped in the society and this belief patterns of how life have to look like. And I believe that everyone can live a life like this. And it's not like because I live my dream life, it's not that everyone has to live a life exactly like this. Because all of our dreams, all of our visions, they look completely different. And this is what makes this world so beautiful, this diversity. So maybe in another episode I'm gonna talk more about my story and how I actually reached this point in my life and right now. I mean, you can call it luck, you can call it a coincidence, or for me I love to call it destiny. Because when you're really open for it, when you're willing to go for it, when you're willing to risk something, and when you're willing to let go, then the most beautiful things ever can happen. So right now I'm back in Switzerland, and yeah, I just tidied up all of my stuff I have stored here. I met my friends and family like after almost 1 year I spent in Southeast Asia, and in a little bit more than a week I will take my flight back home to like officially and really start maybe my new life. I like to say this, or my second life in Thailand. Yeah, it's a completely different life, and yeah, I really love to share more about my journey and about the experiences I've made, about the questions I sometimes ask myself or I reflect over it. And I really wish out from my deepest heart, I'm not sure if you say this in English or not, that this podcast, that this may inspire you to maybe go one step more towards your passion, towards your dreams, that you start following your heart, you start following your passion, and that you allow yourself a life like this, a life where you're happy, where you're at peace. And I really love the Sanskrit mantra Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, that all beings may be happy, healthy, and free. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy with me and listening to this first episode of this podcast. My intention is to post one video every week, and yeah, I'm really happy. I finally decided to do this step, this one small step towards my goals, towards my visions, and I don't know where this journey gonna lead me, but I know it's a step in one direction, and it will always teach me something. It would always lead me something. And even I will come back. I won't be the same person anymore. So once more, thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day and go towards your dreams. Because if you believe me or not, it's possible for everyone.